The Vortex Armada had conquered 17 systems in the Orion Spiral. Their biomechanical warships descended upon peaceful worlds like metallic locusts, harvesting resources and subjugating populations with ruthless efficiency. For over 3 decades, the Allied planets struggled against the invasion, losing ground with each passing year. The war seemed unwinnable, until humans entered the equation. Captain James Miller stood on the bridge of the Earth Expeditionary Force flagship, intrepid, watching the tactical display with narrowed eyes. Surrounding his vessel were 37 warships of human design, modest in number but revolutionary in capability. "Status report," he commanded, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Lieutenant Reed looked up from her console. "All ships report combat ready, sir. The Allied forces are in position but taking heavy losses in the Proxima sector." Miller nodded. Humanity had observed this war from the sidelines for years, developing their technologies and studying the enemy, while the Galactic Council debated whether to accept Earth's application for membership. The diplomatic wheels had turned slowly, too slowly for the 17 billion souls who had perished under Vortex rule. 2 weeks ago, the Council had finally approved Earth's petition. Their first official act as members? Declaring war on the I-Dime Vortex. "Signal the fleet," Miller said. "Execute battle plan Thunderstrike." The human ships accelerated toward the conflict zone, employing propulsion systems that the rest of the galaxy had deemed theoretically impossible. Their approach went unnoticed by Vortex sensors, calibrated to detect the quantum signatures of conventional Allied drives. Admiral Thex of the Allied Command watched the human fleet's approach with equal parts hope and skepticism. His scaled skin had lost its luster during the long war, and his compound eyes had witnessed too many defeats. "They're going to get themselves killed," Thex muttered to his second-in-command. 37 ships against a Vortex battle group? It's suicide. But what the Admiral didn't understand, what none of the Allied species fully grasped, was that humans had evolved in a death world. Earth's high gravity, extreme climate variations, and countless predators had forged a species that excelled at one thing above all others: warfare. The Vortex detected the human ships only seconds before impact. Their hive-mind commanders had never encountered the electronic warfare suites that now scrambled their neural networks. The first wave of human craft released payloads of what appeared to be primitive nuclear weapons, technology the Vortex had countered centuries ago. But these weren't ordinary nukes. They were hemp devices, high-altitude electromagnetic pulse weapons, designed specifically to exploit the one weakness humans had identified in Vortex technology. Their integrated biological components were hypersensitive to specific electromagnetic frequencies. The blasts created no physical damage, but across the Vortex fleet, bioneural circuitry sizzled and died. Ship after ship went dark, their crew suddenly cut off from the hive mind, disoriented and vulnerable. "Second wave, execute precision strikes," Miller ordered. The next group of human vessels deployed kinetic kill vehicles. Tungsten rods accelerated to near relativistic speeds. They tore through the disabled Vortex warships like cosmic bullets, ignoring shields calibrated for energy weapons. On the Allied command ship, Admiral Thex watched in disbelief as the tactical display showed Vortex signatures winking out one after another. "Impossible," he whispered. "We've been fighting them for decades." The final phase of the human attack involved boarding parties. Soldiers in powered combat armor cut their way into crippled Vortex vessels. Unlike the Allied species, humans didn't rely on directed energy weapons that the Vortex armor could disperse. They used chemically propelled projectiles, bullets technology so ancient that the Vortex had no defense against it. Within 3 hours of the initial human engagement, 87% of the Vortex battle group had been neutralized. The remaining vessels were retreating, broadcasting distress signals on all frequencies. Miller received the damage report with grim satisfaction. The human fleet had lost 3 ships, tragic, but a fraction of what conventional wisdom had predicted. "Send word to Earth Command," he instructed his communications officer. "Phase 1 complete. Requesting reinforcements for immediate push into Vortex territory." On the Allied command ship, Admiral Thex requested an immediate conference with the human captain. When Miller's image appeared on the view screen, The admiral's mandibles clicked in what his species considered a gesture of profound respect. "Captain Miller, I must understand. How did you accomplish in hours what we couldn't do in decades?" Miller's expression remained professional, but there was a hardness in his eyes that made the admiral uncomfortable. "Your species evolved in harmony with your environments," Miller explained. "Ours tried to kill us at every turn. You developed technology through curiosity. We developed it to survive." He paused, then added, "The Vortex made a critical miscalculation. They studied how the allied species fight wars and prepared accordingly. But humans, we've been fighting ourselves for thousands of years. We understand war in ways they never could." Within days, the human strategy spread across the front. Allied commanders integrated human tactics into their operations, and the tide of war shifted dramatically. The Vortex, facing an enemy they couldn't predict or counter, began to retreat on all fronts. 1 month after humanity entered the conflict, the Vortex High Command sent an unprecedented communication. They wished to discuss terms of surrender. In Iwanimu, the council chambers, the elder races marveled at humanity's achievement, while privately wondering if they had merely traded one threat for another. They had invited humans to join their galactic community out of moral obligation, never suspecting that this young species would so fundamentally alter the balance of power. As Captain Miller stood before the council to receive their formal gratitude, he reflected on humanity's new position in the cosmos. They had earned their place through blood and ingenuity, but the real challenge lay ahead, proving they could build peace as effectively as they waged war. The universe would be watching closely.